to episode 21 of the Lonely Knitter podcast. My name is Laura, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking me out. This is my podcast all about my knitting. I don't have any real life knitting friends, and I don't have a knitting group, so on a Sunday night I sit down after my little one has gone to bed and I talk to a camera about my knitting. I am slowly becoming more entrenched in the world of online knitting friends, and I am very quickly becoming a less lonely knitter over on Instagram. I've made a lot of lovely friends here on my YouTube channel and on Ravelry. I am the Lonely Knitter 2 on Ravelry, and I am the Lonely Knitter on Instagram if you want to come and chat to me over there. So this week I have got quite a lot to talk about, and I'll jump straight into finished objects because you may notice, if you have watched before, that I have not worn this sweater before. This jumper is my Flax. So if you're a long time viewer, you might have remembered that absolutely ages ago I was knitting a Flax. I'm sure I've shown it on the podcast. I'm not 100% sure, but I have mentioned it, so maybe. And I bought Drops Nepal from Wool Warehouse, and it was on sale and it was very cheap, and I bought enough that, well, what I thought would be enough to make me a sweater and Ellie, my toddler, a sweater. And this is mine. I knit the large size. I'm a big girl. It has got quite a bit of room in places, but I knit this to be a comfy, squishy, put on over your jammies, or if it's really cold, defend against the elements sort of sweater. So I am incredibly happy with it. Drops Nepal, I'm guessing here because, oh no, I don't need to guess because I have my notebook. Drops Nepal is 65% wool and 35% alpaca. It's not the softest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not sitting here thinking I'm cozy in my really cushy jumper. It's got a scratch to it that only natural fibres give, I think. You know, that certain feel that you know you're wearing some wool and alpaca. But it is still soft. It's hard to explain, but it is soft. But then when it's against your skin, so I'm wearing a short sleeve t-shirt underneath, and I can feel it on my arms. A very slight something. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a prickle. It's not making me want to scratch my skin off, but there's something there. I'm not sure I would want it high around my neck. I'm very happy with how it is though. I wore this all day on Friday because I cast it off and then put it straight on my body and didn't even block it and just wore it. It is blocked now. But I wore it all day on Friday and had no irritation whatsoever. But then I've been knitting with the same yarn since, and I have had quite a bit of irritation on my, like, I've not been wearing my jumper at all, but I feel like there's been like fluff on my face, or in my, I have felt a little bit of an itch to myself, and I don't know if there's stuff in the air or what. It might all just be a big coincidence, but I never remember feeling like that when I was knitting the Flax. So, got off on a tangent there, but if I've spoken to you about the Flax before, sorry, can't really remember. It was a long time ago. I bought this yarn in May of 2018, and I think I cast on almost straight away, but then must have stopped. I got bored. I knit the body, one sleeve, and stopped. So it's been probably for the best part of, might be like 6 to 8 months, sat in an ottoman thingy that I have in the spare room, not in the spare room now, it's in the living room now, and stuffed in there with just a sleeve needing. And I was just, last week I was thinking about it and just thinking, that's really sad, I need to sort that out. So this week I pulled it out, I got a sleeve, I did it on Friday, and then I sat there and thought, well, actually I did it on Thursday. I think I pulled it out of the basket on the Thursday, and then I just needed to finish the very end of one cuff on the Friday, and did that, and then promptly put it on all day. So this is the Flax by Tin Can Knits. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I didn't knit it as part of any along, but when I finished it and posted a picture to my Instagram, I have started watching Geordie Knits podcast, and Catherine, she commented on my Instagram picture and said you should cast on another one for the Flax along that she's running, and it's all the way start of January all the way through till the end of March. If you can knit another Flax. Now you'd think I was a crazy person because I've had one Flax hanging around my house for months and months and months, but when I bought the yarn, I bought enough to do a matching sweater for me and for Ellie. So I cast another one on in the 2 to 4 years size, which brings me on to my next finished object. The sleeves are still rolled up because she was wearing it earlier. This isn't blocked yet. I just finished it this evening and she put it straight on. I loved it, and then we twinned for a little while. So this is the 2 to 4 years size. It's all crumpled up, been in a little heap, and yeah, it fits her with a lot of room. She will be 2 at the end of January, and this is the 2 to 4 years size, so she has a lot of space in here to grow, which is fine with me. I will put a picture in of myself wearing it here. I didn't really fancy getting up and turning around, especially because I am wearing pyjama bottoms down here and there's not a lot of space, and I've already got a picture. I will put a picture in of both of us wearing our Flaxes here. There we go. So, 2 finished objects, 2 Flaxes. I cast this on Friday night, just before we went to bed, and I literally cast it on and knit the neck ribbing, then went to bed. Got up on Saturday, went to work, did an 8.5-hour shift, got home and knit down the body to about probably here, and then got up this morning, really felt unwell, really not feeling great, and sat on the sofa. Chris did loads of jobs and things, entertained the toddler, and I knit boop and boop. And then cast it off this evening, and I'm glad I did. I feel so much better for just having a chill out day, so here we go. So those are the 2 finished objects that I finished this week. This one is a bit of a cheat. This is a finished object I had from the previous week, but last week I didn't really do a proper knitting podcast, so it wasn't in there, and I saved it for this week. This is a cowl. I'll model it for you because, you know, I'm good like that. So this cowl is knit from Noodle Soup Yarns DK in her Death Metal colourway, and I love it. And this is my own design. So it is a textured cowl, you see? And I haven't written this up yet, but I really want to, and put it up with my other patterns. I have more than one pattern in my Ravelry store. So this is a really simple cowl. It took just under 100 grams of DK weight yarn. I like the idea that you can knit it from one skein on 100 gram skein of yarn. And I am, before I write it up, I'm just going to knit it again in a size a bit smaller, which I'm going to call like your head hugger, because I wouldn't mind one that's squeezed around my face, and then like you've got hair on up here and it stays glued to your face a bit more. So yeah, that is my new cowl design, and I'm really proud of it. It's been in the works for a long time, and I actually knit the first sort of incarnation of it in like June of last year, but I didn't like it as much. I wasn't 100% with it, and now with a bit of messing I actually really like it and really like the stitch pattern. So I'm going to pick that one up as soon as I get the chance. So that's all for finished objects. So now we are on to whips. My works in progress this week. I don't actually have that much to show, though I feel like I've knit quite a lot. First one is one I'm quite excited about. Everyone and their mum is knitting a northeasterly blanket. I'm knitting a northeasterly blanket. Everyone I watch is knitting a northeasterly blanket. We're all loving the northeasterly blanket, and there is nothing wrong with that. I love it. Love, 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 love it. I'm test knitting the southeasterly blanket. I'm just going to say it. So, Melissa, Skeinanigans, put out a call on Instagram, did anyone want to test knit? And I was like, me. And these are some of the stitch patterns that she has going on. So you can knit your northeasterly. The lighting is rubbish. I'm so sorry, the lighting is rubbish. I have to record at night. It's crap lighting in here. The reason I have to record at night is because otherwise there's a 2-year-old climbing up my face the whole time, and I just can't do it. So you're gonna have to make do with me, I'm afraid. Here we go. Seed stitch. This gorgeous bubbles. And here is a lovely lacy one. So Melissa said it was absolutely fine to share on social media. I'm not giving away any of the secret sauce, like I'm not giving any real information. And this is the last bit that I've tried. I haven't done a lot on this week because I've been flaxing right here at the end of the week. But this, if you don't know, is brioche. Brioche. Brioche? Brioche. Oh. I don't know. One's a bun. Do you say them both the same? Brioche bun, brioche bun. I'm eating a brioche. I'm knitting brioche. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm totally stumped. I knit this. This is a big deal. This thingy, brioche, brioche, brioche. I'm going brioche. This was one of my aims for 2019. Have a go. I've never knit this before and I really wanted to have a try. So that's one side. And here's the reverse. And I just absolutely love that it is reversible like this and how pretty it is. This is definitely my favourite side. This is the front. So the Southeasterly test knit was the thing that got me to have a crack at brioche. 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 To have a go at this. And I am very grateful. Thank you, Melissa. So I am really chuffed. Came out really nice, and I have a few things in my list of things I'd like to knit that happen to have this as part of the pattern. One is the Exploration Station by Stephen West. Everyone and their mother has knit that pattern, apart from me. I have yarn, I bought it in Yarporium, just haven't got around to doing it. Need to get that done this year, but now at least I will have a little bit of experience when it comes to the instructions. This blanket probably going slow going, and it'll probably just be, it is a scrappy blanket, but it'll probably just be a little pram sized blanket to gift to someone or to keep for if we ever have another someone, or for Ellie's use with her baby dolls, because I've already got my Southeasterly going on. I don't have a lot of DK weight yarn, and this section was used holding fingering weight double to make a DK weight, which is a brilliant tip that Melissa gives, and I love it. But I think I'm going to try and put as many of my scraps as I possibly can into my Northeasterly and grow and grow and grow that, because I love that as well, because I don't have to think, I don't even really have to look at it very much. I can watch the telly, totally zone out, and it's just there clicking away in my hands. Whereas you do have to concentrate with these because you are making something quite a bit more intricate looking. But saying that, they are still all quite simple, and I felt the instructions were really easily, like nicely laid out, so there was no issue with learning a new skill for me. One thing I will say is remember, when you check out the Southeasterly, I think you have to already buy the Northeasterly. I think the Southeasterly, when it comes out, I don't think it is out yet, but when it comes out, I think it is an add-on. I think it will be well worth the money. This is fabulous, all of these so far. So if you haven't checked out the Northeasterly blanket, go and find Skeinanigans because she has a podcast and it's amazing. So do it. Okay, so my next 2 whips I don't have here to show you. I've left my weekender in the living room. I do not know why I have done that. It's ridiculous. But I have finished knitting all the way up the front. So we separated, I think I separated for the sleeves before well, not for the sleeves, but like I separated the bit that you separate. I think I had done that before I recorded last time, but I don't think I really showed the project last time. I'm not showing it again this time because I've left it in there, but it's fine. It's a long slog, that sweater, so it'll be something a little bit of, you know, variety next week when I need something to show you. So I have marched on up the front and finished the front and done the little bit of cast off that you do. Again, don't want to give anything away because that one is a paid for pattern, but everyone and their mother has knit that pattern, so you probably know what I'm talking about. But I just did the cast off that she has on the neck. I'm not going to say what that cast off is, but it was amazing and it blew my mind, and I'd never done one like that before. So you'll know what I mean if you've done a weekender by Andrea Mowry and you've cast off those neck stitches. Anyway, so it is still going. It needs the back knit up and then it needs all the joining together in the sleeves going on, and it will happen. But I'm in these 16 weeks of weekender cal for that one, and I am miles and miles ahead because we were allowed to cast on Christmas Eve, so we're only a couple of weeks in, and I am like a good chunk. I'm a lot further ahead of the milestones than I need to be. The next whip that I have, I also can't show you. It was a shawl design that I'd had bouncing about in my head, and I thought I will try and make this a reality. Well, it didn't happen. So I ripped the needles out. It was some gorgeous yarn from Lay Family Yarns, and when it wasn't working, I was like, this yarn is too good to be in a shawl that I will never wear because I don't love it. So pulled the needles out, pulled the yarn out, and that one is going away to be started afresh, something else. So those are my 2 whips I don't have to show you. My 3rd whip, my 4th whip, but the second that I do have to show you, are some socks for Ellie. So I'm just making her tube socks, 48 stitches in the round, knit 2 purl 2 rib for the first 2 stripes of this yarn, and then knit all the way down and then toe. So I did not knit these 2 at a time, as you can probably tell because there's only one. This was something I cast on the day before Christmas Eve, and it was just like a quick, I was standing in boots and I was really bored, and if you've watched you'll remember I had a little bit of an ordeal in boots where I was just standing around for no reason, and I cast this one on and knit a good chunk of it. All this needed, all that I've done to this one this week is kitchen of the toe. That's it, been sitting in the little bag for a while just needing that. And then literally while I was waiting to set up and sort things out and waiting for Ellie to fall asleep tonight, I cast on the 2nd sock and knit 2 rounds of ribbing. So literally just started this. These are being knit on Chalgoose 2.25, yeah, and I am very happy with this length. It's, I think it's either 80 or 100. Does it tell you on the needle on Chalgoose? Oh, look at me with not being prepared, as always. Doesn't tell you, or if it does, I'm being blind. but I always buy 80 or 100s, and I could do 2 at a time on here, but I'm just not, because these are incredibly quick to whip up, and by the time I've done a cuff, putting it somewhere else, done another cuff, can't bother. So these will happen soon enough. They are being knit out of yarn that was gifted to me by our lovely Instagram friend. It is Knit Picks Felici in the Sprinkles colourway. Had to check the ball band. And they are living in my Why Doesn't Bear Grylls Knit bag, which has my only pin badge, which is the Emporium pin badge. I say my only pin badge. I have a load of Disney pins from Disney upstairs. I could probably put 1 or 2 on one of my bags, but that's my only enamel pin that is deliberately knitting related. So that's living in there. I think that's about it. I don't have any other whips. I'm sure I don't. No, whips done. So now I would normally talk about stash enhancement. I don't have any. Bit naff, bit rubbish. I'm a bit poor. Christmas with a toddler, you know. I only work part-time. We have a mortgage. No, it's fine. I spend all my money on yarn. No, this is just a tight month, and I am glad that I have many, many lovely yarns to work from in the house. So I'm cracking on with hopefully some stash busty little things soon, and I want to buy sweater quantities this year. I made a goal that I would knit at least, I think I said 3, I'm not sure, I might have said 2, but I now want it to be 4. At least 4 garments knit from indie dyed yarn. I'm not sure if that is going to be possible, but I already have the yarn for my Tegna. I have money set aside for some 2 skeins of yarn that I want to get to make the Sipala, and I talked about these projects last week on my podcast, and they had pretty pictures and everything, so if you want to check out what my make 9 is, you can go back to there if you so wish. So that's 2 projects that I have money for or have bought already in January. So that leaves me 11 months of the year to save for, buy and knit 2 more garments from indie dyed yarns. I would like to make 9 garments throughout the year. That's what my make 9 goal was. Technically, because it's cast off in that year, I don't care that most of this was knit last year, I don't care. This garment was finished in 2019, my first finished garment of 2019. So this one counts. Even though it's not part of my make 9, I just want to make as many garments as I can. And so does Ellie's. Child garments are going on the list too. So I think I can do this stash enhancement wise. This might not be an incredibly spendy year, mainly because I don't have a lot of spare cash. If I can sell my patterns and do a bit more there, then that money will definitely go back into my hobby. So no stash enhancement, I'm afraid. However, I do have things coming. I have one lovely friend who has offered to give me something to give away on the podcast. Incredibly nice. And I also have another lovely friend who has already put a package in the post for a surprise. A surprise from you. I'm not telling you, basically. I know what's in there, sort of. She sent me a black and white photo. So I will show you when that is here and what we have. So yeah, nothing here at the moment, nothing exciting and gorgeous to show you, but I'm hoping there definitely will be next week. I feel a little bit sorry for myself because you know when you've got things coming through the door and you know, or like you've ordered something and you know it's coming and you're just waiting for it to turn up. I haven't had a yarny package in a long time. My advent calendar doesn't really count because I received that earlier, but I was obviously opening a little bit of yarn every single day throughout December, so I had this massive like hit of yarn every day throughout December, and I haven't ordered anything since well before Christmas. So basically after my Advent and then my lovely Christmas skein of yarn from Jane at Family Tree Yarns, I have had no stash enhancement. Is that right? Oh my gosh, I think that might actually be right. Because the things I showed you last week, they were early in December. So that's a big deal for me. It's only a few weeks, but it's a massive big deal for me. So no stash enhancement this week, sorry folks. So all that's left for me to talk about really is my week. So if you don't like that bit and you're like, might not contain much knitting, this might be where you want to stop. If it is, thanks so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you another week. If, however, you are sticking around, thanks. This week has been quite busy. I worked late on Monday, and then Tuesday was New Year's Day. Yes, I'm right, I'm not running away with myself. Monday night was New Year's Eve and I worked until 10:30. Did the same on Christmas Eve. Bit naff, but there you go. We had a very quiet New Year's Eve because now we have a little person and our friends were doing other things, and because I was working till 10:30, like it's not so much that she's around, because we would take her to one of our friends' houses, but I was working till 10:30, so it ruined everything. So we just sat and watched the telly until the wee hours. Ellie woke up once because neighbours with fireworks. Then Tuesday, New Year's Day, just had a little bit of family time, and then went round Chris's parents. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we've just chilled. Like me and Ellie, Chris has been at work, he only gets like the actual bank holidays off, unless he books holiday, which he didn't. But we've gone to soft play, we've gone to Africa Alive, it's our local wildlife park that we have a annual pass for. We've done things every day. My parents have come over, but we haven't had a crazy busy week. There's not been a lot of things we've had to do. So we've had a nice time. I've got a lot of knitting in just the little extra spaces. Like, she's been really hard getting her down to bed. So there's like an hour there sometimes where I'm just cracking on with knitting. And yeah, just in general, it's been a very week. Not a lot, like it's been lovely, but there's not been a lot. It's just, nothing's really stood out. You know, Christmas is over and I'm feeling that flatness of January. And I'm not really sure where to go from here, what to do. Feel a bit aimless. So knitting wise, I really want to crack on and start a few new projects, because I've cast off a few this week, but I'm short on needle sizes. That's one thing I'm going to sort out this week, is try and find all my circular needles, fixed and interchangeable, and make up a little sort of pack with all of them in it, so that hopefully it'll be a bit easier for me to find needles, because they just seem to be discarded around my house. Awful. Anyway, really I don't have that much going on. Hung around the house today. God, this is a boring podcast, sorry folks. One thing I will show you, this is knitting related as well, I could have done it earlier. I'm not going back now. This notebook that I showed a few weeks ago, it happens to have my show notes in this week, but I will rip them out. Got this in the pound shop, literally in Poundland, and it is becoming my new knitting journal. So I have my knitting diary, my strict planner, but this is just for my finished objects. So every time I finish an object, I'm trying to keep all the details. And so up the top it says number 1, first thing, to say that this is the first thing that I finished in 2019. It has finished and the date I finished it, the title, what the project is, and who wrote the pattern. If I've got the ball band, I will include the ball band, a little scrap of the yarn if there's any point. Like with the socks that I'm knitting of Ellie's, the knit picks, Felici and Sprinkles, I would have to cut a lot of yarn off there to get all of the colours, or I would have to waste a lot of yarn by chopping a little chunk out of each colour, and I'm not sure I'm up for that, so that might not get a bit of yarn, but it's got some yarn in it. It's got all the details from the back of the ball band, if I've stuck the ball band in like that, and when I bought it, if I know. So this was Drops Nepal, 20 balls bought May 2018, what I had plans for it with, what I eventually did it with, and then, so I used 11.5 50-gram balls for this pattern. I've put 11.5 times 50-gram balls used, and then I've also written how many meters and yards that is just for this project, because I might tot up at the end of the year how many meters or yards or grams as well that I have used throughout the year. And I like having things on paper. I know people have fancy Excel spreadsheets that work it all out for them, and I know I could do that because I have an accountant husband who would definitely be able to work out an Excel spreadsheet for me, but I like the idea of having a paper record with bits of yarn and ball bands in and notes I have written. So that's project number 1. And then project number 2, which is my flax pullover for Ellie. My cowl is not in there because it was technically finished last year. So this flax pullover, flax jumper is in here as well, but I didn't bother with the ball band or the yarn because I've just put a note that it's the same as on this page. And in here I've put that it took 4 and a tiny bit balls, which means again that I have just over 4 balls left, so I'm going to give them away on my Instagram channel. I don't, Instagram channels, not YouTube, Instagram feed. I have 4 balls of Drops Nepal left. I can't even remember if I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to give it away on there because someone might want to use it. I am a bit done with it now. I've made 2 garments. I think that's okay. And there's just over 4 balls left, so that's enough to make the 2 to 4 years size or smaller. I thought someone out there might have a little person that they might want to do that for, or they might want to just hoard it or make something else. They might have an idea for it. So I'm going to give that away on Instagram this week. Probably leave it open for a week for people to go and comment, notice it and comment if they want it. So head over there if you want to. So whilst I feel like this has been quite a busy knitty week for me, in terms of real life it's been a bit slow, and in terms of actually things for me to talk about, I feel like I've not said much at all. Sorry, a bit of a boring one this week then. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about next week. Either that or we might have to switch to a fortnightly podcast, because otherwise what am I going to blab about every single week? I am trying to make the podcast shorter. I am recording in clips. You've probably noticed the jerky joins all the way through, but it just helps me focus on what I'm saying and not blabber on forever and ever, because honestly, when you're trying to upload an over an hour long podcast onto YouTube and it's giving you jip and not doing it, and then you're sitting there thinking, I've just watched a bit of this back and it's absolute rubbish. It makes me feel like I need to do it in clips, I need to make it shorter. So that's everything for this week. As I've said before, please do come and find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, and I'm really, really enjoying talking to everyone over there. I have made so many friends and it is such a big deal. Still haven't met anyone in real life, so I can still hold my hands up and say that I really don't have any real life in front of my face knitting friends. But I definitely have some online ones now, and they are lovely. Not very active on Ravelry. I will see a message within a few days and reply, but need to talk a bit more on my Ravelry group. I don't know, I find that quite a clunky system. I really like Instagram, so I'm over there, The Lone Knitter, if you're interested. Other than that, I think I'm just going to say bye. I mean, I was going to say, you know, if you've enjoyed yourself, which I can't imagine you have because really rambly city this week, but if you have enjoyed yourself, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I do giveaways for my subscribers, and there will be one coming up at some point soon. And if you want to give me a thumbs up, I would be eternally grateful. Things like that, subscribing, giving me likes, like thumbs up, that helps me gain more exposure on YouTube. It means that more people will be offered my video, and then hopefully I'll be able to communicate with more people. And that's what the whole idea of this is for, is with me. It's the idea that I want to build a place for myself in the online knitting community, because I'm kind of alone out here. So yeah, if you fancy it, I would be very grateful. Subscribing just means that you'll get a little notification every time I post a video, which is usually weekly, and it'll save it there for you, so you can just easily click on it, click on my feed, ready to watch anything that I've put out there. So that's it. I think I've said "so that's about it" a few times. I'm not sure. My brain's really frazzled. One day I will have a child that is in school or something like that, and I will be able to record during the day when I'm not knackered, and maybe, and this is a big maybe because I cannot promise you anything, but maybe I'll put makeup on. We'll see. That's not a promise. Okay, so I'm going to go to bed because it is really late and I am really tired. Thank you so much if you have watched all the way through to the end. It is very long, I do appreciate it. I have rambled, I am sorry. Thank you so much again for, as always, making me much less of a lonely knitter.